Welcome to the One Thing podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Adam Rinde. Over the last 20 years in clinical practice, I've seen something that medicine alone doesn't always explain. There are patients who do everything right. They follow the plan, they change their diet, they take supplements, they make lifestyle changes, they show up consistently, and yet something still doesn't fully shift. At some point, you begin to ask a deeper question. Is there another layer of healing we're not addressing? Today's conversation explores that layer. My guest, Eva Müller, works in the realm of energy and consciousness. She believes that unresolved emotional patterns, accumulated stress, and even ancestral influences can impact the body in ways we don't measure but still experience. This is not a rejection of medicine. It's an exploration of whether healing might require working on more than one level at the same time. What struck me most in speaking with her was not mysticism, but groundedness. If you're open to expanding your framework for healing, this conversation is worth your attention. Here's my discussion with Eva Müller. Eva, welcome to the One Thing podcast. It's a delight to be here with you today.
Hello, Adam. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to our conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes. So it was great getting to know you a little bit before we started our conversation here. And, I think one of the things I was about to ask you, and I think it's a great place to start, is the transition you made from your previous life to your current work. Can you tell me like those moments and how they accumulated, and what made you started questioning like the life path you were on and transitioning to more of this an energetic spiritual path?
Yeah. Great question. So from a very young age on, I felt there was something missing in my life and I didn't really know what it was. So I couldn't put a name on it. It was like a feeling in my body. There is something missing, a lack. And then because I didn't really know what to do, I went to school at that time. I thought, okay, when I finish school, this what I'm missing will be filled with, finishing school. Then I went through school, but I didn't really like it. I didn't like school. I had a lot of resistance to the whole school system and to, in general, because I couldn't find anything there that was enjoyable for me. So it was just, okay, I had to go there, I had to do this. But for whatever reason, I thought when it's finished, I'm going to be fulfilled, I find it. And it didn't happen. And then the same, I went to university. I thought, okay, I have to, have a good education and then a good job afterwards, earn a lot of money, probably have a family, like all these things, what people think they need to have a fulfilled life experience. And I went through university and also I didn't like it. There was a lot of suffering on an emotional level because there was so much resistance in my system to studying something intellectually where I wasn't even good at studying. I didn't really, not that I didn't really understand what I was studying, but it was kind of hard for my mind to understand. And for whatever reason, I still passed exams, you know what I mean? So I put a lot of energy into that, but it never felt right. But for whatever reason, I thought I had to go through university. I have to finish this. And like I said, there was a lot of suffering involved because of resistance and I didn't enjoy it at all. Then I finished university and then the same thing in my job. I thought, okay, when I have like this specific job where I earn money and then I can, also practice what I studied, I'm going to find fulfillment, and it didn't happen. And this was kind of in other areas of my life as well. I went traveling, I thought I find it when I travel, when I, go around the world, meet other people, other countries. It was awesome, but this lack was just always there and it just got bigger. When you kind of look for something and you can't find it, it got bigger. And it got to a point where I just felt, okay, I don't want to go on with my life anymore as I did because I was just suffering all the time, even though life itself wasn't bad. I come from a middle-class family. Like I always had everything I needed. I had my friends, all of that, everything was fine. but just this suffering because of looking for something that I couldn't find was very, very strong. So I decided to stop working and take off some time and just, I don't know, just look for whatever comes next. And then I looked into personal development because I was listening to podcasts and they were talking, yeah, it's possible to have a life that you actually enjoy and to have a job what you actually enjoy, because I focused my energy on having a good job. So I thought, okay, if I find this perfect job, then I'm going to be fulfilled. Yeah. And then there was this one online program where it was for personal development, and there was also guided meditations they offered. And I did these guided meditations, and there was this one specific one where I had a spiritual experience, and I didn't really know that it was one, but it was just a very beautiful experience because I dropped into such a deep state of meditation where I was totally gone. So Eva was gone, my life story was gone, all my problems, my suffering, looking for whatever I was looking for, everything was gone. So it was such a beautiful, peaceful state. And when you experience something like that, you just know there must be a possibility to experience this all the time, because how can you just experience this for a certain amount of time? It must be there all the time. So this was then the curiosity. Okay, I kind of have to look for that now, because this energy, it's an energy that wants something, that looks for something that was there and just didn't know where to look. So now I put this energy into, okay, I probably have to start meditating. I found a meditation group and started meditating, put all the energy into my spiritual path and development. And it was really good that this energy was there, because it helped me to transform my system, to open up to spirituality, to work with energies and all of that now. Yeah, in the meantime, this energy dropped away, but it was very useful. And yeah, this is basically how it started. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people can really identify with being on a career path or a life path, and it just is not feeling aligned. And I'm just curious, was there something more of an identity that you really felt strong click in when you started exploring meditation? This is who I am. This aligns with the way I see the world and the values I have.
So the meditating, when I came to this meditation group, the guy who led the group was working with energy transmissions, and I received them. I didn't felt them at first. I didn't even know what the group was about. And then I learned this group was about that we can awaken to our true nature, basically. So enlightenment is also a word they were using. And I heard that word before, but I didn't really know what it means or what it meant. And then I learned on the path that basically everything that who we think we are, all the identification that we put on ourselves, all our life story and everything, that needs to fall away. And then, what we are can come forward. So basically throughout our life experience, from a very young age on, we start adding, I call them stuck energies, to our system. So basically till about, let's say, 3 years old, the system is open. So when I talk about the system, I talk about the body and our energy body. So we have an energy body and the body, and it's just open. And when we have experiences and emotions and thoughts, we have them in the present moment. And then when the experience is over, it basically moves through the system and it fully leaves. So all these energies are leaving the system. So for example, a child wants to have a cake, but it's not allowed. Then it cries, right? For that moment, it's very tragic. But then you can tell the child, but yeah, hey, look, there's this beautiful apple. And then, it puts the attention on the apple, and like this whole crying and everything is gone. So the system is fully cleared from this trauma. But then there comes a time when these emotions are getting stuck just because life happens. We have to be quiet, we have to behave, and all of these things. And then energies are getting stuck. And we accumulate them all our lifetime. So all the anger, all the fear, all the whatever low vibrational resistance, other low vibrational energies, we're accumulating there in our system. They lower our vibration, and they also veil who we are. Also, all the things that we learn throughout our lifetime, right? So how we're supposed to be, that we need to go to school, to university, that there is a like all these structures we learn that are here on Earth. That sounds very expanded, I know, but it's like everything we're learning, and then because we think it's true, it's our experience.
Hmm.
So this is why everybody's life experience is a bit different. Everybody learns different limitations. That would be the best word to describe it. Yeah, it's just limitations. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because thinking back to the question I asked you to just before this is that it's almost like, well, your your experience or your movement in this direction was the opposite of identifying with something and the opposite of having like a previous value. It's like you actually break that down, and with opening up to your true nature, you're actually letting go of things and values or things you've identified that maybe were things that are not a reflection of who you truly are. So
Yeah,
it's interesting that,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And so you at that moment or during that process of finding your true nature, and it sounds like you had some experiences that showed you that you had an openness to receive energy or information or an awareness that sort of seemed to be your like a gift. Was that how it was worded back to you, or was it just sort of something you were privately experiencing? Like you're a teacher, or did teachers say, this is something that you truly seems like a gift for that you have that is uncommon?
Yeah. So all my awakening path, it took a few years. So really what we're talking about, or what you just asked me, was a time frame of about 3.5 years. And in this meditation group where I was, and also the teacher I had, and people who I met were kind of on a similar path or on the same path, had similar experiences and similar openings. And so I already met people who were working with energies. And so I know, okay, this could be a possibility, that things are opening up for me as well. But I didn't know what is going to open up, because everybody is different. And also the people I knew or still know, they had different gifts, or they're working with different energies. So I was like, okay, I felt very strongly that I wanted to have some sort of spiritual gift so that I can help people. Um, but this was, and I just have to share this because that's very important. When I wanted to have it, it didn't came. I had to
Mm,
drop. I had to totally drop the idea that I want to help people, because it's another identification that you want to heal somebody, right? I didn't know that at that time. So you have to drop the identification, and you have to drop that you want to heal and help, and that you want to have gifts and stuff like that, and just drop it. And I did it one day. I said, okay, I don't know. I tried everything again. So I tried I basically got initiated in different healing, just as out of curiosity. I tried them, but it just didn't resonate. And then I decided, okay, I'm just gonna drop that, and I'm open for whatever comes, and whenever it comes, I'm fine with it. And about 4 or 5 months later, this transmission started to come in. So I felt, okay, there's an energy coming in suddenly. And this is when it all started. And I started to sit with people, transmit this energy to people. And at first, it was really just an energy transmission. I didn't really have an understanding what it was, couldn't read it, didn't get any information. And then basically practicing and working with it created this whole thing, what I'm doing today. And, it's an ongoing process. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it's such a profound spiritual principle that you just mentioned that I think when someone is doing their life's work and they they're serving their purpose, and then it starts to cross into like a career, and paying bills, or like having sort of a physical needs met, or wanting to identify with that role, like you're saying. It's interesting that things dissolved, as far as the potential of the work, as far as as soon as there was like a strong need to identify with, or a stronger need to want to to heal people or want to fix people, some people say. And that's such a delicate balance, that obviously, like, in order for people to find you and get to know you, you have to kind of, in a way, put out what you do. And it's just so true in my experience that the more that you're the more that you're in that place that you're describing, the more you're able to do your true work.
Yeah. You know what the thing is? A lot of people want to help. And I think that's very amazing. It's beautiful that there are so many people on this planet who want to help others. But the problem is, it's an energy in our system and it's not the highest truth. So I just refer to the highest truth because when I say energies, it's energy structures and they're just playing out. So, for example, I want to be of help. It's playing out in our system and usually we're getting something. So either we get, I don't know, we feel good about ourselves because we were able to help, or there is another lack energy that's fed with that, right? And that's the issue. So if we remove the energy that wants to help, then all the other energies can fall away as well, right? So the one that we would feed, and then there is a place of neutrality. And then when we help, we just do it because we do it and we're not getting anything back.
Right.
We don't need anything. It's not coming from a place of lack. It's just coming from a place of, I just call it neutrality because this is really how the true nature is experienced, is very neutral. So there is nothing you're not gaining anything, you're not getting anything. It's really a place from neutrality and you just do it because you do it. And that's it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, such a grounded way of looking at all this. I think one of the rubs I say against this the energetic medicine world or this spiritual medicine world is, like, we've all been in the presence of people who make you feel like they want to be your guru, or they kind of want to have you follow them in their ways. And what you're describing is something so much different. It's like a neutrality is, you're just leaving it and you're presenting it and as a gift, and there's a sense of detachment from that. It's like, there's no transaction per se, where it's like, okay, now I have to follow this teacher and learn how they see the world or what have you. And I think that's a really unique and valuable approach for people who are needing guidance in this area but are afraid of losing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people feel drawn to gurus because they have certain energies in their system that they need somebody to look up to, they need somebody to follow. And I think it's also fine, if they do it from a free will perspective, of course, and there's nothing else happening, right? But then knowing, okay, I got what I needed, and then I just leave and look for something else, because there are a lot of possibilities out there, and at different times we need different input. Sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a guru, sometimes a teacher, energy, whatever. This was my approach as well. I, I I look for what I needed and then I connected to these people or these energies. And then when I got what I wanted, thank you, that was amazing. And then I moved on. And I think, a guru is often, it's like, okay, you have to follow me for a very long time. And yeah, it's also an energy that I would recommend clearing out of the system if that's there, because it's an energy that depends on somebody, and that's also, it's not free. Yeah.
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 Well, I think that was a great introduction to you and your work and some of your core philosophies. And I think backing out a little bit would be helpful for some people who, are wanting really to understand this world, have a framework to, metabolize some of these terms and maybe apply energy medicine or consciousness or spirituality to their life. So, people who listen to this particular podcast, a lot of dealing with medical medical problems that are chronic, that there's just things about the condition that don't seem to be adding up. Like, it's like they're doing what they're told, they're following directions, they're trying their hardest to get better, but things are just not adding up. And so let's insert consciousness work in that particular world. And how would that support someone on a medical journey versus kind of replace the other things they're doing for their care?
Yeah. So where do I start best? I'm just going to explain how I see that the energetical realms, how they influence the physical. So I personally, from experience working with people and how I see this, is that every illness we have, everything, even breaking bones, has an energetical root cause. And then it's there on the energetical. So there is something unresolved on the energetical, and this leaks eventually into the physical, which is like the densest part of who we are, right? The energetical body, there are also different densities, but the physical is the densest. So it starts tripping into the physical. And I always say it's like you have a water and it drops on a metal, right? It drops, drops, drops. And then eventually the metal gets rusty. And then we start feeling something on our bodies, right? And then, there could be a hole in the rusty metal eventually if we don't stop the leaking. And then there is really something major wrong with our bodies. And so I always suggest looking at the energetical structure as well, or the energetical issue, and then the possibility when we remove this, so it's really, we can just remove this like this, it goes very fast, then it stops influencing the body, so it stops dropping, and then the body can start healing itself. So first the self-healing possibilities there again, everybody has that. And also, yes, all sorts of different treatments are also welcome, like everything is included. We don't want to exclude anything, because the thing is, everything we exclude is just one possibility less that helps. So I suggest that people go to the doctors or caretakers or practitioners who they really feel drawn to, like really feel drawn to from their heart level, if people have access to that, like from their truth. And so that's inclusive to help to heal the body, but it's really important to look at the energetical as well, so that we can remove the root cause for the illness, because the root cause is never in the body. This is how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And, there's, I guess, along those lines, like I was sharing before we got online that, that in my practice, the last 20 years, I've seen that there is a crossroads, when people are usually going down the physical health road and they're dealing with a chronic illness. There usually is a crossroad, and where they can't really put into words what they're experiencing. Are there common ways people will speak about the energetic or spiritual illness component? Is there terms that humans use to describe it?
So I'm just going to answer the question from a different angle. I'm just going to explain how I see what can influence the physical. So either it's something, so what I was talking about before, the stuck energies from this life experience. So it could be something from, let's say, when you were younger, a traumatic experience. It could really be abuse, or it could be something not as, strong, but the energy could still be fear, that's in the system. It could be ancestral influences. So, there are energy patterns that, pass down from ancestors. We all know that, it's common. Fears often, it's about fears, right? So this is one of the most common ones, and anger. And then also past life influences. And how I see this is, okay, this is how I see it in my work. We incarnate over and over again as humans, right? And then in lives before this one, the information that we accumulate, so every life is an accumulation of information, it's stored in our energy fields. So it's stored somewhere. It's just information that's stored. So we're not that person from these past lives. It's really just stored information.
Mm.
And sometimes this information is influencing this life experience. So I see these are the three main influences we're having. And this is why there is a physical problem. And when I work with energies, I only work on these energetical levels. So not so much on the physical, because this is what I do. And then I just clear the energies, but I clear them on the level of the emotions. So
Mm.
anger, fear, resistance, depression, also anxiety, on these levels, on really the energetical level. Yeah. And is there a common language? The thing is, the work I'm doing, I share about my experiences. So I'm not a doctor, for example. I mean, I've been to doctors throughout my life, but I don't have so much knowledge, about medicine. So I really share what I'm seeing, what I'm doing, and what the energies are sharing with me. So I'm working with energies. They're coming in and they give me information. I'm reading this information. So it's really, there's nothing, it's not spooky or anything. To me, this is like cooking, it's very normal. It's just something I do. So the energies are coming in. I see the information and I read them, and at the same time I get impulses what I can do for people, and this is what I'm doing. So it's possible that there is a common language, but what I'm talking about is really my experience and what makes sense to me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
does sound like your one level you enter it is the emotional, you know, you're describing that like you work on the emotional level as like an entry point.
Yeah.
So I think
This
that,
is the main one where I see work needs to be done, because yes, there are a lot of different stories on top. So there are a lot of different stories on top of anger or fear, we have a lot of stories on fear, but what we need to clear is really the emotion of fear, because when the fear drops away, the stories are dropping away. So
yeah,
often, you have to go into layers until you find out the core emotion and this core story. There is always a core story as well, but for me, I just go in, remove the core emotion with the core story. I don't need to know it. I can look into it if I want, but I don't need to know it. I just remove it, and then basically all the other stories, they basically dissolve. So we don't need to go into the layers. Mm.
okay. So what you're saying is we can't do this kind of work over Chat GPT.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, ChatGTP can't transmit energies, and this is just what I'm doing. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who work intuitively. They tune into your system, and then they intuitively can tell you where things are happening, and stuff like that. And they're doing great work as well. And I don't know if ChatGTP can do that, but like I work with these energies that are coming in, and ChatGTP definitely can't transmit.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. That was my point. Yeah, I mean, I think that, the humanness and the energy connection, I mean, at least at this juncture, and I imagine, maybe one day it'll be able to be put in a format like that. But this is a human gift and a human experience, that reminds us of how special humans are. And it's actually very, makes me feel like a sense of warmth inside just thinking about like humans serving each other in this capacity. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say for me, just to kind of reflect back what I see, and maybe this is helpful for the listeners or what have you, or maybe not, I don't know. But, I see like people searching for answers through like the next this, the next book, the next supplement, the next diet change, the next exercise plan, or the next workshop, or, and, they're kind of, it's an external experience. And when they get to the point where they start to feel like something needs to shift in a different level than externally, they're kind of looking at the impact of traumas and the impact of programming, or the impact of, for some people it's religious conditioning, or for other people it's generational trauma or past lives, and they're just kind of, they recognize that regardless of how much they change in their external life, this follows them, and they're trying to find a way to release it. And usually as a medical or healthcare provider, that's where they're beginning the real work.
Hey everybody, I'm just going to pause and interrupt the episode just for a moment. Hope you're enjoying listening. If you've been listening to this show, you know I care deeply about stress resilience, recovery, and better sleep. And that's why I partnered with Pulsetto. Pulsetto is a non-invasive vagus nerve stimulation device that gently stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system responsible for rest, recovery, and regulation. In just 2 weeks, users reported 28% lower stress, 18% improvement in sleep quality, 26% reduction in anxiety, and 22% boost in overall happiness. 86% of users say they felt calmer and less stressed after using it. If you want to try it for yourself, go to pulsetto.tech and use the code ONETHING for a special discount. That's code ONETHING at pulsetto.tech. And as always, this is an affiliate partner, which means the One Thing podcast may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. Thank you for listening, and now back to the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So you're saying these people, no, there are two different things. So the one energy that's looking for a solution, for example, this one needs to be dropped. So because this is an energy that just moves, it moves you, but it moves you away from you. So it looks in the outside world, right? Again, so it looks for solutions on the outside. It doesn't look within. And I know when people are not used to look within, it's hard to understand what it actually means, right? Because they don't even know that there is something there. And also they don't trust themselves, they trust others, right? They trust doctors and stuff. And what we want is we want to bring people back to knowing that their intuition, like that they have an intuition, that it's actually there and they can trust themselves. Because a lot of them have stopped that. And basically a lot of things we can't describe and we try to figure out with the mind. It's just not possible. The mind is very limited. And this is where the energies are coming in, because the energies have a higher intelligence. You just sit in meditation, you relax, they're coming in and they're working on your system, and you don't have to understand what they're doing. But when you get up, you feel open, you feel expanded, you feel lighter, you feel fresh. You just feel better, right? And every time you connect to these energies, you feel better, better, better. And what they're doing, they're removing all sorts of different stuck energies, past life, this life, ancestral influences. And we don't have to have an understanding. And that's just the good part, because, and then what it does, and it's so amazing, you have to have a certain amount of surrender in your system, surrendering to life or to these energies, because this is a lot what's missing for people, right? So they can't surrender. They can't say, okay, I allow life to flow through. I have this illness. It's there for a reason. It's showing me something. I allow it to be here I'm not identified with it, because the problem is people are identified to they feel even smaller. They feel more depressed. They feel really, very, very tight. And this is like, I have people on my groups who are ill, who have cancer, who have other illnesses, dementia, other chronic illnesses, but their system is open and expanded, and they in full acceptance that this is there, and they feel good. They have a good life experience with the illness. This is already an amazing step, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't have to feel small and sit at home and not engage with the world. You can actually have a life, and at the same time the symptoms just get less and less, because the energies are removing them. And this needs a certain amount of trust and surrender and openness. And when this is there, that's already a lot. That's already so much. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to double click on something we talked about earlier. And I'd say, for people listening to this, just to even further ground it, I think that the situation being that if both of these channels are on, you're taking care of the physical things, the things you're working on with your physical doctor, and you look at that as like not as an opposition to this. And yes, going to workshops and reading the books and trying various supplements, that's all good. If you look at this like in parallel with what you're talking about, so these are things that are helping the body heal while you also help your energetic being heal. It's like
Yeah, absolutely.
they don't have to be separate entities or
No.
opposing entities. And I think that's, it frees up the possibilities and kind of opens you up to more healing energy if you're open to both.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm just going to quote something. It really helped me back in the days. And I think it's so beautiful. So I was very much, when I was meditating, very devoted for a while to just the Divine Mother, the formless Divine Mother, because I went through a very, very hard time. Like this transformative time, or this transformation time was extremely hard emotionally. And then I needed basically something or somebody to help. And I chose the Divine Mother. And there's also somebody, who gave me a quote about her. And it was like, okay, I have to think about the quote. I have to translate it now into English because it was in German. But it's really like the Divine Mother works through everybody. So it can work through a doctor, through a homeopathy practitioner, through a other alternative practitioner. It doesn't really matter. She can work through anybody. And this gave me so much trust because, yeah, I knew, okay, I will be taken care of no matter who it is. And this helped me tremendously, because often we don't trust certain people, we don't trust certain treatments. But when we know, okay, we're taken care of and we're receiving exactly what we need in that present moment, then we have this openness and this trust. And that's already so amazing. Everybody's different. Different people can have different methods how they heal the same illness, for example. Absolutely. Okay. Sorry, I lost how I can say this in the best possible way. So basically, okay, give me a second. I need to. So what I want to say is that Divine Mother works through everybody. So whatever you feel drawn to in the present moment, just go with that, because it means it's perfect for you. This is basically what I wanted to say. And just going with this through life is just a tremendous help. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's such a healthy way to receive, and to receive those energies that you're talking about is, if you look at whoever you're interacting with is a source that's kind of channeling a source.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very healthy way. And oftentimes if I have a loved one or a patient going into surgery, I'm kind of praying or meditating on the hands of the surgeon and the mind of the surgeon and the heart of the surgeon to carry forth the best possible, use their skills in the best possible way. But that source is coming from another source. And so it's fascinating.
Yeah, but I mean, very amazing that you're doing that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I realized in practice, that my role is more than sort of coming up with a prescription per se, but it's also just like connecting to the healing side is very important to me. And whether it has any impact, I don't know. I just do it. And I believe it.
I can tell you it definitely has impact. We are all working with energies all the time. This is just how we human functions. Most people don't know it, but what we do is also an energy exchange. This is just how it is.
Yeah.
And when you think about somebody, there is an energy exchange. And especially when you think positively, and praying is a very beautiful way to send somebody support. Yeah. And it's received. It is absolutely received. So, and also meditating on something. So that's very amazing. And I mean, everybody can do that, and everybody can work with energies. They're there. They can either personify it, they can use like God, Divine Mother, universe, Jesus. It doesn't really matter. They are forms, but for us humans, but actually it's just energy with information, so we can ask this energy to help somebody. So I don't know, You can ask the Divine Mother, can you please help this and that person in surgery, just an example. And this person will receive because the energies are there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the things that you've talked about is that you are able to help people in your energetic and healing practice by simply by being present with them. And I think other people have heard terminology like holding a space for someone. Can you talk about that? Because I think that's such a profound aspect of, what does it mean to just be present with someone? When did you first notice that just by being present with someone that you were able to feel shifts and help them with their healing and energy work?
Yeah. I mean, the presence is always with the presence of the energies, definitely. So they are coming in, and in that space, there is healing is happening in that space on whatever level. So I work with high vibrational energy. So everybody is in a certain vibration, has a lot of different reasons why we're in a certain vibration in our energy field and body. And then when our vibration is being raised, so in that field, we're suddenly moving to such a high vibration for this certain amount of time that things can be cleared, healed, dissolved, removed, and so forth. At the same time, when we get out of this space, so somebody, does my meditations and then gets out of the space, people have changed forever. The energies are changing. They're working on their cells. It's actually very fascinating. So the energies are coming in. I see every cell has also like an energy body. And when the energies are coming in, the energy body of the cell starts vibrating to the energies that are coming in. So for example, the energies, to give them a name, joy comes in, love comes in, truth comes in. Yeah, for example, they're all high vibrational. Then they start changing the energy of the energy of the cell, and then suddenly our whole system vibrates to that information. So it's just a change of information, because energy and light is just a word we use, and it's information on the core level, just information that our mind doesn't understand. But the system, I talk about it, the system. So the mind is about 20% how I see it, and the whole body and the energy body is 80%. So this is where we need to work on. This is where we're going to be successful. So the information is changed. And when people get out of the meditation, their system is changed for good. For or another way to say it, the vibration is raised a little bit higher, and next time a little bit higher again, next time a little bit higher again. So yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good way of understanding the process of, what someone experiences is like their energetic shift. I guess what I was alluding at was the practice of just being present with someone, and when you're just sitting with someone in their presence, and I guess you can call it like holding a space. Is that something that you find a therapeutic way to work with with energy medicine?
Yeah, I mean, I I I don't really do this kind of practice that I just sit with people. Like I always guide through a meditation, and energies are coming in. I know people are, this is a thing. I know people like to sit with other people who are in a higher vibration, and this would be enough as well, right? So I have done some work to my system. I have a very strong energy field, and then when
Mm-hmm.
people sit with me, they're already receiving. But I just feel
I
when there
see.
is more energies coming in, there's just a lot more happening. Like there is so much more offering there, and so I don't really sit with people. But maybe you were referring to, so when I started this work, when I there was a certain shift in my consciousness, a very profound one. And when this happened, I started sitting with people, and I was by my presence was this level of consciousness, and they were receiving this, the people who were sitting with me. But this was just a very short amount of time, because right after, not very long, but short after, the energy started to come in and working with. And so I just continued on working with those. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people can relate to that. And, when someone says, "Oh, that person has great energy," or, you feel in a person's presence a sense of well-being that impacts you. And, I think that really connects with me, as far as, where you're calibrated and what you're bringing to another person is, just being around you, just being present with them could shift them.
Yeah, but this is why they say you are, okay, again, the German saying comes up, but the 5 people you have around you, you are like the same as the 5 people you have, the closest 5 people you have around you, because this is also what happens in our everyday life experience.
Yeah.
How the people around us are, we are very, very similar. So we should
Yeah.
double check who we hang out with. Because if we hang out with positive people, with people who are, who like to live their truth, I just like to use that word, so they follow their joy, their passion, their truth. It's very different to people who always moan and whine and are very negative and in fear all the time.
Right.
It's so different, and that's a very similar thing. So energy work
Yeah.
is very similar as being with people of different vibrations. This is
Yeah.
to get an
So
understanding. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
true. So
Mm.
let's go into some of your practical applications a little bit more so the people listening can get a sense of working with you and what that's like. So you sometimes offer live experiences, and what should people expect if they're part of that, and what shouldn't they expect?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I have, for example, a free meditation, which is on every Thursday at 9 o'clock Central European Time, and that's 12 p.m. PDT. So that's your time zone then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Calculated, right?
right
Yeah, and
now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's on tomorrow, by the way. So you're very welcome if you have time.
Ah, thank you.
And it's really, and this is very cool because we're a group of around, it depends, but like around 160 people, and they have been doing this work for quite some time, and they're all very high vibrational people with a very expanded consciousness. So just go meeting this group does a lot to people's systems. So I can really recommend that. And what we do is there is just I usually do like a little talk where I just share something for 10 minutes, then yeah, and then we have this 15-minute guided meditation, and this is about 20-30 minutes. I guide, I just close my eyes, and then the energies are coming in, and I just share what they're doing for people, and people just need to basically relax, close their eyes and relax, be in an open receptive state. That's all they need to do. And then there's also a silent part. And then I have a lot of YouTube videos, so people can also look on my YouTube channel, em-healing.com, and there are 300 plus videos with different titles, and either they click on one where they like the title, or just on any, just to see how how I work. But they can, like, the energies, even though it's a YouTube video, they're coming in, just that people know, even though it has been recorded, because on an energetical level there is no time. So when it's recorded, I see it as like it's stored in a library energetically. And with the video, you just basically tap into that library and open up the book because it's there. So it's not really in the video, just that people know. Energy is not in the video. Yeah, and then they can sit and meditate along and then see how they feel, and maybe do it 3, 4, 5 times in a row. And if you don't feel anything at the first time, maybe you do already. If not, just give it a few tries and then see how you feel. Check in how you feel. And then I also have small group healing sessions. They're on once a week with a little bit of a smaller group. And they're also, I do healing there. So it's more intense. So we work on more specific things. And then there's also a lot of time for asking questions. So people can ask me things and share their experience and stuff like that. And then I have and this might be very interesting for people who have physical illnesses as well. So, which audience has. I have a service, it's called Next Elevations. And there I connect people to the energies I'm working with through a website, because I can work with energies, I can program them, I can do a lot with them. So people can just go on the website, click the button, and the energies are coming in. So they don't need to join. Yeah, this is just something that I figured out basically, because I was like, okay, how can I had a baby, so I couldn't offer so many sessions anymore. And then I just asked the energies, okay, what can I do to help more people but not be present, basically. And then I just got the information and visuals how I can do it. So you click the button, the energies are coming in, and they follow you around 24/7. You can also do the same for your pets and the house if you want to other options.
Amazing.
And so it's the base transmission, and then there are energy enhancers. And if people feel they need support in certain areas of their lives, they can also get these enhancers, even though it's part of this base transmission. But just when they feel, okay, I need more support in that area, they can have it stronger coming in. And there is health, one of them, for example. So I have a lot of very cool, amazing stories when people, got this health enhancer because whatever they had just dissolved over 1, 2, 3 days or a week or so, right? So I have a lot of these stories, and that's very beautiful. And it's something, they just click on and it just comes in. And there is a 2 weeks free trial for the base transmission if people want to, just if they open. There are also a lot of healing videos on that website people can use for free then when they are part of Next Elevations. And I really recommend them because they are hardcore clearing videos. I'm just clearing. So there's a lot of clearing and healing. And I do a monthly upgrade where people receive a system upgrade because energies are coming constantly. The thing is, our systems are mostly kind of, limited, small, contracted, and we want them to be more open, more expanded. And these upgrades are just helping to open, expand the system, remove blockages and stuff so that they can receive more. And basically, people fully transform over time, not just the health. Health is just part of it. There is a lot more. There are a lot of other enhancers there as well, like inner peace if people have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Addiction remover, for example, maybe people have addictions, stuff like that. So there are a lot of self-love is a very, very popular one. And it's very helpful for people because especially also when, you have an illness, you often forget to look after yourself, even though you look after yourself, you think, but like you look actually after the illness or how can I get rid of my illness? But you don't take care of yourself in a way of self-love. And it just brings in information and possibilities. So it basically just pops up in your experience how you can love yourself more, or suddenly it happens, or energies are being removed that where you don't love yourself, where you actually do the opposite. Also, abundance is a very important one. This is one of the main ones actually as well. Health and abundance are the main ones people are on.
Yeah.
This just because these are the main limitations we have right here on Earth. It's abundance because of the structures we're experiencing, the limiting ones, and also the physical is taking a toll, when things are out of balance. So, yeah.
Wow. What an amazing program you have. I mean, for me, like just listening to you describe it is, I think I am someone who has gone into these worlds of working with energetic medicine and spiritual approaches. I've seen people who've, channeled in my presence and various other things. And there's a different sense I get from you. And I want to maybe wrap up our conversation with this is that like you seem really grounded and relatable. And it's almost like I've never experienced that with someone who works in this field that you work in. Like usually I'm feeling a little bit like trying to see if I could trust this energy, and it feels almost scary for me in a way. But in talking to you, there's a sense of groundedness and safety and just realness about you, and it just feels like, okay, yeah, I trust this person. How do you cultivate not getting lost in this energy world and remain so grounded?
I mean, first of all, thank you for saying this, and I'm very, very happy, that you have this experience. That I love that, and I'm grateful that you shared this. Thank you. I mean, the thing is, so I don't consider myself spiritual. I don't. I'm a very normal person. I have a family. I have friends. I like to go on vacation and do all these things. And at the same time, I do this work, and it's the same thing as cooking. To me, like it's not out there. It's something very normal because it's just part of who I am. It's as you said, it's very integrated. It's very grounded. So I live a very normal life. Like very ordinary. So and this is how also my energy work is presented. It's very normal. It's not out there. It's nothing. I like spirituality is not what's the word to use? It's nothing out there. We are okay. Let's use this word. We are spiritual beings, so we are more energy than we're physical. So it's very normal. We just need to see that. And then when we know that we are that, it's inclusive. We are that, and that's it. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up. That's a really profound way to say, to share and to leave people with, that inspiration. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I mean, for everybody who is listening and who got a little bit curious, I just recommend really go to my YouTube channel, try one video, just sit down, lay down somewhere, be comfortable and see what happens. Like nothing bad can happen. Just try it and check in before you start doing the video and check in afterwards and see how your experience changes. Just be curious. Yeah, and this is what I want to ask people, I guess.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I just want to share some afterthoughts. I often see at some point of the healing process the need for tuning into the energetic aspect of healing. And when a patient arrives there themselves, it's very exciting for me because I know they're going to get to a deeper level of healing, and oftentimes they're getting close to graduating from care. I don't think this is an either or situation. I think we need to always address the physical and the energetic and the spiritual. However you want to look at these domains, it's all part of the healing process, and one doesn't have to exist without the other. While I don't practice energy medicine per se, I do practice various forms of somatic healing, and I also think that's a wonderful way to involve oneself in healing the body from a deeper energetic perspective. Things like the Safe and Sound protocol and other protocols that are out there, like the Gupta program. These are wonderful ways to access layers that may be stuck or blocked. However, the work that Eva is doing is really deep and special in a way that some other therapies may not reach. So I hope you've kept an open mind throughout the episode and that you were enlightened by her work. I've already started referring people to her to sit in on her public meditations, and I'm getting good feedback already. So I hope that you check out her work or at least explore this aspect of your healing process. Thanks again, and see you next time.
Yeah, and then you see what happens, and then maybe it resonates, and that would be awesome. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and
Well, I'm
I
excited.
also want to say thank you so much for having me, Adam. It was very lovely and amazing conversation, and I love that you're so open and curious about this work. And I love combining medicine with energy work. I mean, that's amazing. This is what we're looking for. I mean, this should be standard, So I'm so grateful for people like you who are actually open and looking into this and want to expand on that level. And yeah, thank you for connecting
Yeah,
us. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I want for all my patients who are ready for something like this. I mean, I'm so supportive of people going to this realm. I just know it would unlock so many barriers that we were unable to get through on some levels with the work I do. So I'm excited. I'm excited that my listeners have a resource like you to go to now. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everybody for listening.